Okay, Anders, while we're waiting for Brian, can you see my screen, my full screen? Okay,
Yep.
awesome. Okay, Brian Weissman will be here shortly, but I want to introduce Gandalf the Dark, aka Anders. Anders, tell us a little bit about yourself at the Four Horsemen.
Yeah. Well, I'm an old school player, and I have a YouTube channel that we see on the screen now.
Convenient.
Yeah, how convenient. And I've been playing since '94. When we're actually one of the guys on my channel has a deck called Tropical Twister. He's my childhood friend, and he brought me into the format. And yeah, I just started doing tournaments pretty early on, playing quick white weenie because I didn't have the cards, but I had the cards for that. And
Everybody had the cards for White Weenie.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
made it so great.
yeah, it was a great deck. And I actually won my first tournament with it, so I was like hooked from then on. And then we just played a lot from '94 until I think Mirage, something like that. And
Mm.
then we started playing StarCraft and all sorts of
Oh,
other geeky stuff.
StarCraft.
Yeah,
Oh,
Brood
I had
War.
so many weekends of StarCraft.
Yeah, we love that game.
That was
We
one of
did
the
that a
best
lot.
games of its.
Yeah. So I played that a lot as well. I actually got sponsorships and everything. Such a nerd.
Oh, you were a
Uh,
professional uh,
yeah,
StarCraft
silly.
player.
I know. I wouldn't say that. The sponsorship was mostly about getting. I got. Do you remember back in the day we had like these internet cafes everywhere?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Back in the
You go to the
'90s.
internet
So
cafe, you pay like $10
yeah,
an hour.
yeah, yeah. So I could play in those cafes for free as long as I wanted, if only if I had their tag on me.
So you had like an annual pass.
Yeah, exactly. So that was so awesome, and some of my friends had as well. So we just played the heck out of
You
that game and
you
just
you
read
go to
up.
the internet cafe, you get your coffee and get
Yeah,
your
exactly. And we
yeah.
could just
But
talk.
you live in you live in Finland, right?
No, Denmark.
Denmark. Denmark.
Yeah.
Okay. So right below the Netherlands, right?
No, right below Sweden, between Sweden and Germany.
Oh shit! What am I
So
thinking?
so
Oh, I'm
north of
thinking of
north
Belgium.
of. Oh
I'm
yeah.
thinking Belgium. Now, all my good times in Europe were between Belgium and Amsterdam.
Oh, that's good countries, good beer.
Yeah, those are the best times. I know, but also Czech Republic. Oh my god, I went.
Yeah, yeah,
So I was in Europe in 1999, and I went backpacking for like 6 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, and you won't believe this, Anders, but I was running a website called magicalliance.net when I was 19 or 20. And I had started my own magic website back then. And I've
Mhm.
actually looked on, there's like this internet time machine thing where you can go back and look at websites from like,
Oh yeah, yeah. I know that one. Yeah.
yeah, way back. I think it's called the Wayback Time Machine. So I just did a search on Wayback Time Machine for my old magic website, which was called magicalliance.net. And there it is. From all the way back.
Yo.
I
Yeah.
I think I heard someone try to join. Oh, Brian is here.
Hey guys,
Hey,
Brian,
Brian.
how's it going?
welcome,
Great.
sir.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
We're recording live.
I have a teeny bit of bad news. I have to ferry my child over to a different house,
Uh-oh.
and it's
Okay.
going to take me probably about 20 minutes round trip.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry
no
to
problem.
leave you guys in the lurch. It was just a bit unexpected, but I'll be back as quickly as I can.
Okay, no problem, Brian.
Thank you for the understanding. I'll see
Yeah,
you
no
guys in a
problem,
bit.
man.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so Anders, we got 20 minutes. And then it'll be time for you to go to bed. Okay, so my story, what was I talking about?
You talked about that website.
Oh,
You had back in the day.
magicalliance.net. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 1996, I was in college in undergrad, and I was hardcore into Magic. I was playing Magic tournaments at the comic stores, like between like Lone Star Comics and a couple other places. I would hit 2 to 3 Magic tournaments from Friday to Sunday every weekend while I'm doing undergrad.
Wow.
Obviously, I did not have a girlfriend at this time.
It's somehow hard to combine those two lifestyles.
No, they don't go together. Marriage, they're locked in.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you can
The
introduce.
trap closes.
So obviously I didn't have a girlfriend, but I was hitting 2 to 3 Magic tournaments a weekend, and we were playing 1.5, which was like, like things like this was probably like 99, 90, 90 98, 99. Like Ivory Tower and Land Tax and, Black Vice, Brain Geyser, Demonic Tutor, all those things were restricted. Soul Ring was restricted, but it was like, you couldn't have any power. Like all the Power 9 was banned, but these things were restricted that were like Wheel of Fortune was restricted, Regrowth was restricted. So they called it 1.5 because it was in between Type 1 and Type 2.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And that's where I cut my teeth on Magic. And I was working at a toy store and I was buying Magic cards. It was called KB Toy Store, which was a store that was in all the malls, the shopping malls in the Americas in the 90s. And we'd get these boxes of Magic and they were all discounted, and I would buy like as much as I could afford, but I was making minimum wage, so I couldn't afford very much. But I would go to the comic stores and I would trade the new cards for the old cards. So
that's a good strategy, even back then, probably.
Yeah, even back then, because I was like, I had someone showed me a Scry magazine or an Inquest or something one day, and I was like, wait a minute, a Black Lotus is $300 and a Mox is $50, and I was like,
I need to get in on this action.
Because I was like, I knew my Star Wars figures, like my Princess Leia was worth $20 and my Boba Fett was worth $15. Like I kind of knew, like, and I had some comics as well, but I was like, this card is worth $300.
Yeah. Back then, it was amazing. Just a piece of cardboard could
so and that was like 1993 or 4, and I was not even out of high school. I was like 16 or 17 or whatever. So, but I didn't actually play Magic in high school. I discovered it in 1995, early 1995. Ice Age had just come out.
Yeah. So I'm pretty close to me then. Mine was at the tail end of Legends, start of the Dark. I started, but I really started during Fallen Empires, actually. So
Anders, of the packs, the 4 packs you see here, I was never able to buy any of these in any stores.
No, me neither.
They were gone so fast.
Yeah.
And now that we have some history about Magic and the Wizards of the Coast and all this, they were caught on the back foot, right? Because they didn't realize the demand would be as high as it was. They did not print enough of these cards.
No.
So they actually lost. They cost themselves money. They left money on the table. But that is why these things are so valuable now and why they're so rare.
Yeah.
Half of them got played, or 3/4 of them got played. Some OCD, Magic D&D nerds out, chess player, poker nerds out there, like, put these cards straight into their binders. And to those people, we salute you.
Yeah, exactly. I remember we actually used to laugh at a guy for using sleeves. We thought it was so weird. But he was right, and thank God for that, because his cards survived.
He was right. Yeah, I met a guy one time. He was a computer science, like he was like deep into DOS. He like helped write code in Microsoft DOS in the 80s.
Okay.
And he got into Magic, and he was a D&D player and a comic book collector, but he also collected baseball cards. And, when he got into Magic, he's one of the guys that was like, telling me you need to get into this game. And, it's like there's certain people that have certain influences on you, but he was the guy who was like, this stuff's going to go up.
Oh, yeah. He already knew back then?
Yeah, like he had an inkling. He was like, I collect comics and I play D&D and I've never heard of this Magic thing before, but I bought some of these cards, and he's like, I think this stuff is going up. And then he like showed me that he had like a binder already, and he had put everything straight in the binder. So these cards are mint, and he did it from like early days because he saw the patterns. He saw the same patterns that maybe Richard Garfield saw between baseball cards and comic books and D&D. It's like, why do lots of D&D players collect comic books, and why do lots of comic book collectors play D&D? There's a connection, like this. It's a certain type of personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he was the guy who like gave me the wink and the nod when I was just a young, green pup. And that's why I started trading the new cards for the old card, because he was like, the new cards are shit compared to the old cards. He's like, look at this card and look at this card.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, he's right. And so he's like, yeah, buy the old stuff, sell it, and trade it or buy the new stuff, sell it, and trade it for the old stuff. And that's what I did.
Really? So you actually had your collection way back from the 90s, and you've kept it all the way up to here.
Yeah, Anders, there are 5 cards I traded away, and I regret every one of them. and I'm fucking 46 years old, and I still remember.
Yeah.
And this is so painful. I've only told a couple other people this, but I'm going to tell you. I traded a Crimped Edges Beta Wrath for a regular Beta Wrath, plus another Beta card that turned out to be a collector's edition reback fake.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of those going around, probably.
It was a mint crimped. It was crimped across the top Beta Wrath, and I traded it. I think I traded a Taiga for it.
Yeah.
a heavily played Taiga, because everybody needed Taigas, and that's one of the cards I regret trading away. And there's 3 or 4 others. I won't bore you with that, because I'm fortunate that I do have my original collection. Like I was telling you in the story earlier, during COVID, we had such horrible cabin fever because we were trapped at home, and I dug the Magic cards out of the closet and taught Brooke to play, and then she started beating me all the time with the land tax Ivory Tower deck from 1995 or whatever. Anyway, so then we started watching the Magic videos, and I found you, and I found Rudy and all those guys, Timmy and Baron Nick. And so that's when I got into the Magic groups and got into Discord and Facebook and started finding everybody. And then I instantly was like, okay, and I was digging all my cards out of storage, right?
Yeah.
I got a few cards out of storage just to play Brooke. And then, like, when she kind of got bored because she was beating me all the time, I went back and got the rest of the cards, and I started going through them. And that's when we were watching the YouTube videos. And that's when Brooke was like, wait a minute. He's showing you this card like Mishra's Workshop. He was like, there was videos of Rudy back, I don't know, a few years ago. He's like, Mishra's Workshop's going to be a $3,000 card. And it was like 900 or 800, And he was out there telling everyone it's as good as Black Lotus. It's going to be a $3,000 card. And Brooke's like, hey, wait, you have one of those.
Yeah.
And she, like, out of all my cards, she had seen that I had that. I have one.
That particular one.
Yeah, one workshop. And she's like, you need to, that's when she said, hey, is your collection insured?
Yeah.
Nope.
No. And I'm going out now with my entire collection. Go traveling. Yeah.
Yes. Anders, now this could be a security risk to you if you answer this question, but surely you don't travel with your entire old school collection.
No, not the entire one, but I have a lot of cards with me.
Okay, so an extreme amount of value. If a gypsy, at the train station were to come up to you and rob you, would you give up your cards? Or would you fight back?
Yeah, depending on the size of the gypsy, I suppose.
I think regardless of the size of the gypsy, I would fight back.
Yeah, fight to the death. I actually have a couple of friends. Esbjørn, shout out to you. He told me that he would die for his cards if someone tried to rob him. And I think that might be true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you obviously you started playing in '94. You said, or when?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the Dark had just been released.
Yeah. I remember getting. I bought the Dark booster actually. I remember I got a giant shark. I love that one.
Oh, giant shark from the Dark, yeah.
Yeah. Then you could like ping something with a Prodigal Sorcerer, and because it was wounded, the giant shark would get. If it blocked it, you could do it during block. Then the giant shark would get +2 in power and trample or something.
Right.
Like that. Yeah.
Anders, I have a crazy idea to throw at you. So Brian said he's going to be gone 20 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're recording.
Yeah.
But so far the conversation has been really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have a Four Horsemen deck made?
No, sorry, I don't have one yet.
Oh,
Um,
shit.
yeah,
The
but
correct
it could have
answer
been
is
great.
yes.
Yeah,
Why, yes, Chad, I
to get-
do. Let
Actually,
me just
okay,
find it.
I have something quite embarrassing to tell you, because actually I forgot half my collection at a mate's house last week.
Sounds like he's a pretty good damn mate.
Yeah, it was a bit nerve-wracking coming home there to see.
Were you
all my
nervous?
stuff.
You
Yeah,
left your babies
he
behind?
sent me a picture with use and gens and like Swedish legal cards everywhere. I was like,
It's
oh,
like
there
leaving
they are.
your daughter at your
Yeah.
friend's house when you know
Yes.
that the father is suspect.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't even have them right now. I
Ah,
think we're supposed to meet up at Tuesday, and I'll get them.
well, I mean, when you do get your cards back, you know,
Mhm.
you should maybe throw a Four Horsemen deck together, yeah?
I should. Yeah. Especially because you guys allow proxies, so I can just use what I have, and then I can just
Right,
top it up with
right. Yeah,
whatever I need.
and there's one of the guys in our group, one of the guys in our group, John, he printed his entire deck. And he's playing a red deck, and he printed all Arabian Nights mountains.
Oh
Like
yeah,
20,
obviously. Yeah,
20 Arabian Nights
just
mountains.
pimping it out.
Yeah, pimping that shit up. And he printed every card he printed out and cut it out, put it in a sleeve. That takes a lot of work and time and dedication. But
Yeah.
John was like, and we were playing some matches the other day just for fun, and he's like, I'm just gonna put this in my little box, and it's a printed deck, right? And he's like, I'm gonna put a sticky note on here. It says Four Horsemen Tournament #1, July 2022. And he's just gonna like file it away.
Oh yeah. And then you can just grab it and
Yeah, because like 10 years
test it out.
later, when
Yeah.
he's like 10 years grayer, he can be like, oh yeah, this deck.
Yeah. Yeah, and he can test it out against some of his newer decks and see if he's
Right.
learned anything.
And yeah, play it up.
Yeah, it's a good idea actually. We use deck pictures for that, right?
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's just go ahead and proceed. Brian will be here shortly. We talked about the idea, Anders, of the Four Horsemen being like this crazy wild west,
Mm-hmm.
insanity with 4 workshops and 4 mazes and 4 strips, and the only thing that's basically restricted of any significance is library, right?
Yeah, and City in a Bottle.
Okay, you're right. City in a Bottle and the Silex. That's fair. But
If you had 4 cities, it would. I mean, it would wreck the format, I think.
of course, yeah. And so we were talking yesterday. Nick Breyer actually came up with the idea of this banned and restricted. Like, he came to me with this format. He's like, dude, I think I have an idea for a format. And I was like, really? I've been booted from 2 formats. Do tell.
I'll make my own.
Yeah. And here we are. And it was Nick's idea. Like, I seriously have to give him credit. But we weren't thinking about actually doing anything until the whole X Point shit went down. And that's when I just literally made a Facebook group. And then I registered 40 other Facebook groups with similar names so no one can copy that Facebook group. And then I registered some websites, and then we made the rules, and I started posting decks and inviting people, and this thing took off like a bat out of hell. We have over 500 people, Anders, and we only started 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. And tournaments going up.
Yeah, tournament number 2 starts today.
Yeah, you have one running, and then you have a few weeks for people to recuperate, and then you start again, right?
So this is a point of debate amongst the rules committee, actually, because how much time between the close and the finals of one tournament and the next tournament? Should it be 1, 2, 3 weeks? How many weeks? Not more than 3. Somewhere between 1 and 3. And there's been a lot of debate about that. but a lot of people fall out of the tournament. Like we had 38 players in tournament 1, right?
Oh, really?
And a lot of them fell out after the top 8, and so they're waiting around week,
Mm.
and they might watch the
Oh,
quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the finals. But like they have to wait 4 weeks before the next tournament starts, and only because they fell out of the top 8. And honestly, I was number 9. This is my first tournament, right? I wasn't trying to win this tournament, not really, but I had a deck that I thought was fun, and it was big fatties. Like it was all about big fat creatures and every man you can imagine, with concordant crossroads, and black and green, and like I just wanted to play something fun, and I ended up top 9.
Yeah, that's always a bit of a bittersweet experience.
Yeah. And the guy that beat me was the Blue Skies deck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of that.
Yeah. So the Band of Restricted, City of Brass, and Silex, obviously those have to be restricted. And Library has to be restricted. And then Nick Breyer didn't want any long games, so he threw Charizard in there.
Makes sense. Yeah. And Arena of the Ancients, just to get people to play those damn legends.
Yeah, he was like, I want you to play that 3-color legend that's really hard to play.
Yeah, without dual lanes.
Put that Elder Dragon in there, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the dates were June 25th through July 30th for this tournament. And for the quarterfinals, this is where we ended up. And this is where you, me, and Brian went doing the deck techs and stuff yesterday. I wish I had done this pre-work at that time, and I could have done things correctly. But here we are. The corner. This is what we have. So we do not have the match between Rob Hackney and Roberto Manzini. And
we also ended up making some deck techs for a match that weren't there, right? But we'll release those.
Right.
Just as deck techs.
Yes, and that's my fault.
That's me. That's a lot of decks.
It's funny. I didn't have anything to drink yesterday, and I didn't do things right. And I'm having a drink today, and everything's going smoothly.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Way smoother. Yeah.
So we have Goblin King Steven versus Peter. We have Arnold, and that's Triflin, which is Adam. We have Michael versus Victor, but we do not have Rob versus Roberto, the two Robs. And anyway, so what I thought we should do with the video was kind of zoom in on the journey from Michael Scheffenacker from quarterfinals all the way through, and he makes it all the way through, and there's no other way to do this video without kind of giving you that spoiler. But this is about the decks. It's about the composition of the decks and the construction and the brewing. And so, I think it's okay to let everybody know we're going to follow Michael all the way through.
Yeah. So we have someone to root for here.
Right. And these are the two decks that are going to be featured in the video coming up next. And did we do either of these decks? Yeah, we did a quick review of Victor's deck yesterday, right? Anders?
I think we made a quick review, but we didn't record it.
Right, we didn't record it. And did we review Michael Scheffenacker's deck at all?
Yeah, we talked about that as well.
Because he was the only one that had 3 falling stars.
Exactly. Good check, that one. And he also has Ellie from Cairo. That's pretty sweet as well.
And the Ellie from Cairo, right. So he can basically go down to 0 life and live infinitely with the Ollies.
And if the other guy doesn't have any removal, which is pretty hard to get in this format.
Only Triskelion can take him out.
He's unkillable. Yeah, and Chain Lightning.
Triskelion or Chain Lightning. That's the only ways most people can
get. Oh, well, you can't Desert Twister it, right?
Desert Twister, yeah.
Yeah, Falling Star, but still, it's not a lot.
Right. And then, what do you think about...
Has anyone done Alley with... No, it wouldn't work with Spectral Cloak because you can still shoot it with a Triskelion, of course. But still, could be kind of cool.
Yeah, there was a guy that was playing that deck in Paladin, and I thought that deck could work very well here, but no one has Anders, you're giving away a secret here. No one has come up with that yet, but it has been done in other formats, and I don't know why anyone hasn't done it here yet.
It's probably risky because of the trisks, right? I suppose you can still shoot it with that, but other than that, you're done for. Are you there, Chadster?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Hold on, just a second. Okay, sorry, Anders. Had to
No problem.
take a quick break. Is Brian in yet?
Nope.
Shit.
No Brian yet.
All right. Well, let's continue on then. All right. So, what would you say about these two decks? They're similar. They're different.
Mm-hmm. What are those? Perhaps we should mention what are those cards behind the Yotian soldiers?
The Yotian soldiers. Oh, that's Clay statue.
Oh yeah, I thought as much.
It's a 3/1 regenerator. It costs 4
pretty damn
mana.
cool.
Mm-hmm. And yes, they're so powerful in this format. Like you could run 4 of them. They regenerate for I think 2 or 3.
2 colorless.
2 colorless, right?
I think so. Yeah.
They cost 4 to play. They're a 3/1, and they regenerate for 2 colors. Like they're really damn good.
Yeah, smacking out Mistress factories as well.
Yes,
because of that 3 in power.
That
right?
3, even if they tap and pump, they're gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Yotian soldier, also genius, right? It's 3 mana, so he can tap his workshop to play at turn 1 if he wants. And it's a 1/4, right? And it doesn't tap when it's
great defensive creature.
I mean, we all played Yotian soldiers when we were kids. Remember?
Yeah. It's coming back for a revival here.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty
And
cool.
that is what is so cool about this format.
Also another tech we're seeing here is like a tug with Tetravis. I haven't seen that before, but I can imagine if you like eat all the little counters, those are artifact creatures as well, right?
And
so he's running the huge attacks with that.
Yeah. So he can sacrifice the Yotian soldiers. He can sacrifice Suchi and get mana, and then bring in Trisky or Tetravis. He can sacrifice the Tetravis counters. He's the only guy that put Atog in the robots, and there were so many robots decks. There were so many. We had 38 people, Anders. Yeah, there was like 12 robots decks.
Yeah, well, it was the first thing I thought of when I saw the format. Right, you have 4 mana range. You have Abyss that you can't easily remove, and you have all the robots that you need.
Right.
It's just that's really strong.
Yeah.
And you also have a transmute artifact, right?
Oh, the transmutes, right. And what's interesting is Michael only has 2 transmutes, and he loaded up on the mana drains, but he halfway did it on the transmutes. But I think he wanted to squeeze in those clay statues, because if he comes up against another robots deck, right, he has an auto regenerator defense against a Suchi, Triskelion, any ground creature, even Colossus, right? He's got a defense, and it stops Mishras. So I think
it doesn't stop Colossus that well, right? Because you have the trample.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. But he's got the boomerangs to try and deal with Colossus.
Yeah.
In the sideboard.
I think Relic Barriers will probably be in there later on.
We saw that in some of the other decks. We did our reviews yesterday.
Excellent in these mirror matchups.
You could argue 4 Relic Barriers would fit in almost any deck.
Yeah, or at least some in the sideboard and some in the main. And as soon as you're in the mirror, you just put them all in. You have like Ices pumped up,
right,
for free.
And he's running the City of Bottle main deck and the Mirror Universe. I have always loved Mirror Universe.
Mirror Universe.
When Foglio, like 2 or 3 years ago during all the COVID shit, Foglio did a playmat thing. And that was when my time of re-entering into Magic was full-fledged.
Yeah.
I was watching Rudy every night. I was unemployed. I got laid off because of COVID, and nobody was hiring, so I didn't have fucking shit to do but watch Magic videos.
Yeah, watch YouTube videos and and dream of making decks.
Right, and I drug my cards out of storage and all that. And so I was watching all these videos all the time.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean that's how it all came together. Okay, so we've got.
But I mean, the Mirror Universe, he can get it out fast with the workshops, right? And there are decks that just can't remove it. If you're not white and you're not green and you're not red.
You're right, because you can't like detonate it. I mean, to detonate it would cost you like 8 mana.
7. Yeah.
I mean, you could artifact blast it if you had the blast when they cast it. If you're not playing white and you don't have Divine Offering, you're right. You're fucked.
Yeah, you're pretty screwed, right? You have Crumble and Scavenger folks for green, but if you're blue and you don't have an answer, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, you're right. And it's such a it's only one card. It's not restricted. You could have played two. But just having that one answer, that also reminds me of old school Magic, because my winningest tournament deck ever was like a Millstone deck with, Mazes of Ith and Wraths of Gods and Swords and Ices and, all that. But I always ran a Mirror Universe, just like Mike's doing it here. It's like this escape door plan B, like the A team, all those fails you have. And it was, I remember winning tournaments because I was almost dead, and then I was able to draw the mirror, play it, and protect it with a counterspell or something. Back in those days, I was playing blue-white artifact. And then next turn I swap with them, and then I can millstone them for the rest of the game, and it's over.
Yeah, exactly. He has to climb up that mountain one more time.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times I won tournaments because of that deck. It was
but it's a great card, and I think this deck, like the ham sandwich, he has several cards where if he uses that and you don't have an answer for it, he just wins. I mean, the alley from Cairo is another one, right?
The alley from Cairo is another one, right? If you have no way to do a point of damage, you are screwed.
You can't kill him.
Yeah. Well, so here's the zoom in. This is just the zoom in on Michael's deck. It's funny, he calls it the ham sandwich, and in some of our games he's joked about it. He put about an hour into this.
It's pretty damn amazing. Yeah, going into the top 8 was just something you just put together that same day.
Yeah. And so all throughout the matches, so we have matches from Michael all the way from this early Swiss matches in the top 8 match, the top 4 quarterfinals, semifinals, all the way down. And he always calls his deck the ham sandwich.
Really?
Yeah, he called it the ham sandwich. Yeah. And so, and I was like, Michael, your deck's really good. He's like, yeah, it's a ham sandwich. Because for Michael, he's a perfectionist, right? What he's saying is the deck is good, but it's not perfected.
Yeah. It's just a rough draft.
It's just a rough draft. And maybe he did that out of kindness so that he wasn't guaranteed to win.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like, oh, if I make the perfect deck, I'm guaranteed to win, and that's
so that he could
let me just
save his ego.
An hour. I won't do any fine tuning. That way, I'm not guaranteed to win, but I'll probably be second.
Yeah, exactly. But he can make a bit of a transformation sideboard, right? Where he goes out of the robots and then get in all those flyers and get out the city in a bottle, obviously, as well.
Yeah, if someone drops a mode on him, they're fine.
Yeah, exactly. And if he anticipates that, he can just go, the flying army.
Yeah, between the Tetravis and the 4 Serendibs, and plus the Serendib Djinn as well, in addition to the Ifrits. And he's got the Sage of Latinoms too. The Sage of Latinoms, that's one of your cards, right? I know you like that card.
Yeah, I do. when I play robots in regular old school, which I do sometimes, I always take them in the mirror matchup or against the deck, or I usually do, because people will take the abyss out and they will take artifact removal in, and sometimes they will even take their swords to plowshares out and just put in divine offerings and dust to dust, and you can get so much card advantage out of those little fellas.
Right, dust to dust. Oh man, like I bought like 50 dust to dust from Card Kingdom like 3 years ago. Because I was like, this card is so good, it's got to go up.
Yeah, it is a great card, especially in this format, I think.
I remember like 2 Christmases ago, I cleared them out. I bought every dust to dust.
Buyout.
I got a box of like dust to dust.
Yeah. Did they go up?
I mean, when I bought them, they were literally 10 or 12 cents. They weren't even a quarter.
No.
Now I think they're like $1.50 or $3 or something in there.
Yeah, that's percentage-wise, that's pretty big.
Yeah, because it removes 2 artifacts from the game. That means no Felden's Cane, no Time Twister, no regrow. That shit's gone.
And especially as a robot decks, they can use animate dead, and against that it's brutal, right?
Yes, if they're running Abyss with the robots, which a lot of robots decks do, because the robots are not affected by Abyss, they're gonna run animate dead to get those Triskies back and do those counters.
Yeah. So it's great against you can remove sushis and everything.
Right.
Yeah, it's just good. All right.
And then
that's his opponent.
So his opponent is Victor, a racist. So Victor has the blue-black Abyss workshops, robots. He's got some really cool Tetravite counters down there.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
He doesn't have 3 of them. He has 6 of them because he's planning on having 2 Triskelions out at the same time.
Yeah. And he also has the coffin, right? So he just
and the coffin and the Sword of the Ages in the sideboard.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And that psychic elegy, you don't see that usually.
Yeah, so that thing costs 2 blue and a color. Is this an enchantment, right? Enchant creatures?
Yeah. No, just an enchantment. And I think what it does is that you have to nominate a color, and then the opponent takes as much damage each turn as he has permanents in that color. And then you have to sacrifice 2 islands each turn or remove a psychic allergy.
Wow.
So you just, if the other guy has a lot
of kind of like
permanents, so you just smack it down. Yeah, you just smack it down, and then if he doesn't have enchantment removal and you have enough islands just to feed it, you can just grind the other guy down straight out. Pretty fun.
And very unusual, right? And this is what I like about the Four Horsemen. Yes, there's a lot of cards that we see very often, but you never see Colossus of Sardinia in any deck.
No. And you don't see Psychic Allergy.
You don't see Psychic Allergy. And you frankly, you don't see Force Spike. I mean, like...
No, that's the thing for this format, I think,
It brings
so many uses.
Cards that you used to play when you were a wee lad, right? And now they're back on the table because they're actually good in this format.
Yeah, and especially those Force Spike when you have, creatures with such a high casting cost as you have here, right? People will always tap out, and you can Force Spike like a Triskelion or Colossus.
Right. They have their whole plan, and you're like, Force Spike.
Yeah.
and
very, very cheeky.
You watch your face turn like purple.
Yeah. Another thing, what's that blue card? Is it Flood? What's it called?
Flood, yeah. 2 blue enchantment, you cast it, and then you pay 2 blue and tap a creature?
Yeah.
Without flying.
So it's like a bit like an Icy, right?
It's like a blue Icy, but for creatures only. But yes, when we all know this is an artifact enchantment format, right? Like the artifacts and enchantments are dominating right now, but that's because we have no banned and restricted yet. We've only got this measly garbage here.
Yeah.
Now
testing out the play testing the crap out of it, right?
Well, Anders, I argued and I lobbied and I brought every ounce of logic to the table. And I'll just show you real quickly, like we had this whole like voting scheme because we wanted people to be able to vote, right? We wanted people to be able to say, okay, I want this card and this card and this card, but not this card. And so we came up with a poll. It was actually like a Facebook poll.
Mhm.
We polled the community and we said, hey, which cards do you want restricted for tournament number 2? So we actually came up with this, and it looks very complicated.
Several packages you can choose from.
Yes, and the vote was vote for one of the numbers, one vote, 1 through 6.
Mhm.
And then the other vote 7, was change nothing.
Oh yeah.
So you could vote 1 through 6, or option 7 was change nothing. So option 1 was we keep library, city and Silex restricted, but we unrestrict Charizard and Arena, because Arena agents ain't stopping nobody's legends. And Charizard, well, nobody's played it, and it might be kind of fun to see if it could do some interesting things in the format. So unrestrict those two, because nobody's playing them competitively.
Mhm.
Option 2 was the library, the city in the bottle, the Silex, and transmute, because transmute is unbelievably powerful.
Yeah, it's bonkers here because you don't have a lot of acceleration.
Right.
And that can provide that.
Right. And then option 3 was, the first 3, but instead of power artifact, do just workshop. Because that would really slow down. If workshop was restricted to 1, that'd really slow down your robots decks.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we only have one in the Swedish format, and it's still a very, very good deck, robots.
Yeah. And then option 4 is not power, not transmute artifact or workshop, but land tax, which you could argue of these 3, land tax is probably the most powerful.
Yeah, it's so strong when you can't remove it.
Yeah. I mean, every turn they're ancestral recalling you themselves.
Mhm.
I mean, I have played land tax decks, and I have played against them, and they are horrible to play against.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just,
I played a game with Peter last week, and I was so mad. I was physically mad at him.
it's like hitting a pillow, right? It just bounces off.
You're like, oh my god, I can't win now. Game 2. It's so powerful that I really believe it must be restricted.
Also because you have the Ivory Tower and you have Land's Edge. I mean, you have plenty of things to do.
So adding
around the
Ivory
land space.
Tower, imagine a line number 7 with Ivory Tower attacked. It would be like line 6 plus Ivory Tower. We talked about that too, but we decided that if the majority of the community were to vote for number 6, which is what I think is the best decision here, actually it'd be number 1 plus number 6. Unrestrict Charizard and Arena and implement number 6. And I was hoping that was what the community would vote with, and 50% of the community voted change nothing. No changes whatsoever.
I mean, I get that. It's a small format. You don't have that many cards, and you need to test it out.
Wait. We talked about this yesterday. Legends is enormous.
Yeah. There's a lot of them on
cards. The more accurate way would be to say Arabian Nights doesn't have that many cards, and maybe Antiquities doesn't have that many.
Antiquities doesn't either. Yeah.
Legends is so vast.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. But I mean, sometimes. Obviously, I think number 6 is probably what I'll do as well. But sometimes you will test it out and find that, well, maybe it isn't that bad. We have another answer.
Right.
Just by testing.
And that's what we're hoping for, right? I mean, I predict in this next tournament number 2, we're going to see decks with cards like 4x of, obviously Land's Edge is going to be, I think Land's Edge is probably going to take number 1 in tournament, in first place in tournament number 2. And I think strong, that they're going to be running things like 4 Blood Moons, and they're going to shut down all the robots' lands, the Mistress Factory and Workshop and all that, and even Library of Alexandria and Maze of Ith, they're all dead.
Yeah.
Well, you get mana out of them, so they might be able to play the Triskelion, but that won't help. It'll be too late.
Yeah, and if you play against a guy that doesn't play red and doesn't play robots, all his special lanes are just mountains, and he can't use mountains.
Exactly.
I mean, robots, at least they can use the colorless mana, right?
Right.
But there will be other decks that will be really screwed as well.
Right.
I think.
So I lobbied very hard for number 6. And my vote was, let's tell the community this is what our rules committee is doing. But then, we were like, yeah, but let's hear what the people have to say, right? Because we one of the things we were trying to be different from the other old school groups is like we're going to take a poll. We're going to check the pulse of the people, and we're going to see like, what do you guys want?
Yeah.
And I think that's smart, right? Because ultimately, there'll be more players having more fun if we take the pulse of the community. So we threw the poll out there, and Do Nothing got 51%.
Just barely made it out.
51%. It was like the winner by 1%.
Yeah. The people have spoken.
The people have spoken. So that's why now we're going to the what we call the Wild Wild West, right? The whole I mean, it kind of is the Wild Wild West, but it's like version 2, and we've posted all the top 8 decks. We've posted Nick. I don't know if you've been on the Facebook group today, Anders, but Nick posted all 38 of the decks.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe we should just go look at that real quick. Why don't we look at that real quick? Because that has
see what the meta is like.
It has all 38 decks, right? What is going on here? And we could take a look at it and just kind of see these. There's a lot of decks that didn't make top 8. Oh my god, I got too much shit popping up. Oh, is that Brian? All right, Brian is here.
Hey, he's in here.
Hey guys, sorry for the delay.
No problem, Brian.
I woke up earlier and I just sort of glanced at the message and Chad said 1 p.m. PST, and I went, awesome. Back to sleep. But
did you have a wild night, Brian?
Every night is a wild night, Chad.
That is a great answer. I love that answer.
Some wilder than others.
Yeah. All right. So let me stop the video here because Anders and I have been recording. Basically, what we've been doing is we've been doing like what do you call it? I don't know. Like just been kind of ad-libbing.
Yeah.
Treading water and looking over the decks and the format.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop this recording